So 3 p.m. Now we'll open the meeting.
You get me when you're done.
Thank you.
These are on that. Okay, so welcome to the Trash and Recycling Development Committee meeting. On the meeting to order, our first item after calling to order is to come up with a list of what we want in the request for proposals. And this is like very, very, very important. From what I've read about in the preparation phase, anything and everything that you think could be or would be or might be an issue, you should list it. And then we'll go through another pass of it with Rebecca and see what she wants to include. It can be a smaller detail. One of the things I wrote down is I heard from a resident who said, I don't want to have pickup on Friday. That's the day that everything always goes. And then
Sure.
you're left with your trash until Monday. So I said, gee, can we ask them to do all of the pickups Monday through Thursday? Is that possible to put on a contract? I don't know, it's not that big a town. So when I say, correct, so anything we don't put down, we can't then, as I understand it, we can't then bring up when we start conversing with them. So the request for proposals will allow us to have conversations. And will allow us at some point before it gets solidified and sent out, we should put a weighting or something on what we're asking for so we know what's more important to us as opposed to less important to us. And so I'm including the trash and the recycling, but I feel like we should have 2 separate lists tonight when we do this. So it's okay, we'll start with just trash, just the trash pickup. So what? I'm gonna write down the question, you know, can we pick up just Monday through Thursday because this resident felt they're on the Friday end of the stick and things don't always go well on Saturdays.
And then it's a given that we're requesting automated.
We should write it down. Yep, no, everything. If we're doing automated, we're doing automated. That means Boxford had to go back out because they didn't ask for automated and the pickup cost went up like 30%. So they had to redo everything again. So if we definitely want the automated pickup, or we want to bid on both sides. I personally don't think we need to see the other side. If we don't get the automated pickup, it's going to be really expensive.
The other side includes labor. And whenever you have labor and higher workers' comp costs.
Okay. Recently, in our conversations with waste management, they wanted to perhaps add a charge for the overflow bag. So I started to think about how would we conclude that in the proposal? Like, what is it we're going to ask them? I want residents to have the ability to have the overflow bag, but another town offered them the ability to purchase an extra barrel. And I'm not sure how that charge worked out. In other words, they wouldn't have just the 64 or the 232s, they would have another, if they're running that much trash in their home, maybe a home business or something like that, but I didn't know where you wanted to go on the overflow bag versus having to buy another bin.
Why do they want to charge us for the overflow bag?
Because they have to get out of the.
Yep, we don't want
Well-
anything piled on top of the trash.
But I think that was what the reasoning was.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
There's a certain amount per bag. And I don't know how they were conceiving that they were going to keep track of that. You know what I mean? Or how there's any checks and balances on how many bags they actually picked up and how many they're actually charging us. You know, that's kind of a.
We wouldn't know.
thing.
And that's, we'd probably get back into that, where they're gonna estimate the number of $4, because how are they gonna, well, I guess the guy, when he does the pickup, is supposed to be doing a checklist of the streets. And now I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but sometimes when the route wasn't finished, Rebecca was not informed.
Yeah.
So we want
Well, how much are they proposing to charge for,
Oh, I don't know. I think they were trying to just keep us in their contract for another 5 years, which I feel we have to go out for proposals. We'll consider them, of course, but
So
yeah,
to clarify, we're sticking with the 35-gallon trash barrel?
but it's 232
This is
or 164.
Okay,
Should,
So
we all wanna stick with that, right?
164?
I think you should go to 164. If you go into a 95-gallon recycling
Right.
bin,
Yeah,
there should be no reason to have more than 164
Right.
gallon trash.
and it's an enormous barrel.
It is.
It's
well, are we
232s.
expecting to provide this?
Well, so
Well-
that's the other question.
If they provide it, we're gonna get charged, and we probably would do better on that one.
I mean, we could compare the cost.
Well, we
Well,
want.
I think that's why you have to look at what the quote is from each company, what are they offering? And the other thing is what are our neighboring communities using for waste hauling? I mean, can we work with Merrimack and West Newbury to negotiate a contract for the 3 communities that maybe,
Yeah.
would be beneficial to all 3?
Well, they'd have to open up, I think West Newbury's contract.
Did they just
probably
get
done
it?
Yeah.
2
I
years
mean,
ago.
I don't know.
But no, maybe if there were any kind of savings, that'd be a benefit.
Who are they using as their, I mean, I think based just driving through, I think one of them is West Newbury. I thought it was using Mellow, but I don't know.
They're
thought it
using
was
something that
capital.
is not, well, there's something with a CAV program, they have 2, I think 2, recycling is one and trash is another, but. We have copies of all these contracts, but I think just the general, we don't need to know the specifics of what they're using, but the idea. Should we approach neighboring communities?
We just have to sign them all
Right, right.
I guess we have to consider, exactly what type of cart is needed for the automated pickup. You know what I mean?
But right now, do we want to put down the 164-gallon cart? And you would like us to see what they offer, whether they offer to provide it or whether.
And I'd like to hear more about what, Rebecca had mentioned, the grant she was looking at to get the 96-gallon.
Correct. We filed for that, I'm pretty sure that one's in.
Yeah, she hasn't heard yet, to my knowledge.
Right, and then that was supposed to provide to everybody in Burlington.
And if there's an opportunity to do the same for a 64-gallon cart for
Yeah.
trash,
Yeah.
then those are things that we should be looking at.
The other thing maybe to think of is a 32-gallon, and then people buy the second one.
I mean,
Trash.
So that's okay. we need to-
I just
That's
want
a
to
thought,
have a
that's a
little
thought.
flexibility on size.
That's a thought, let me put that underneath that.
yes,
So-
actually, I agree
so-
with that.
64-gallon cart needed for
The only
132.
thing is, years ago, we put that cap on 232s. So now to go to 132, we cut that in half.
Well, no, we pay for one, and if they want a second one, then they pay for the second one. I think that's a fantastic idea, because then it encourages just
They pay for the
one
second
barrel of
cart,
trash.
Yeah,
but they don't pay a separate tonnage or tipping charge or
Oh,
anything
yeah,
else.
right.
That's
Right.
shared across the board.
Right, so that's why I think we encourage the 132. So that it entices people to find other ways to manage their trash.
right, I mean, I think that if we don't put it into the proposal, it doesn't get considered. And I think it's worthy of considering, especially if we end up trying to combine into some kind of composting program that would help divert trash, out of the whole stream, not even going into wouldn't even be going into either of the cuts.
But it'll,
It's gonna
you
go
have
to
to take it
compost, right?
out of the,
I saw a black earth compost, little bin down in, well, places, Danvers.
Oh, really?
The back way of Liberty Tree Mall, yeah. Interesting.
I saw Black Earth driving through Georgetown the other day.
Yeah, I know people who have been to
It's-
Georgetown. Yeah.
Right, and they are opening service now to Groveland, you can independently, oops, English for this stuff. You can independently contract with them. To start to try it out. And then see what the town wants to do. In addition, we don't know yet. About that. But when it comes to trash, the other thing is, other than just what do we want from them? You know, I think the card thing is a good thing. Trying to think now. Oh. All the bells and whistles, okay. We need to be notified on a daily basis. If the route is not completed. And that's not happening. I don't think that's in our current contract either. I mean, there's probably something in there that says blah, 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 they're supposed to let us, but it might not be very specific. I feel like people know the day their trash is supposed to be picked up. And when it doesn't get picked up, this place starts getting flooded with cars.
Right.
And when we can't answer the questions, it looks like we don't know what we're doing. You know, it makes us look like a bunch of idiots.
I
So-
think along those lines, then we have to request. If the word is enforcement. Of our rules, because right now they don't. They still pick up all the extra trash,
Right,
so,
well, then, yeah, that'd be, just a notification on a daily basis.
We have to know how they're gonna deal with, big items.
Yeah,
Right.
Item pickup.
bulk items.
Right, we'll get to that.
Pickups to be available.
mhm.
So we have notification days of roads not completed, but then who notifies the people that their route isn't gonna be complete on that day? Is that us or them or what? I mean,
Then how do you do it?
and how do you do it? Exactly,
Can't have reverse 911 for, 1/4 of the town, 1/5 of the town.
correct.
You can't,
You should be able to program it to for a certain set amount of phone numbers, I would imagine.
I mean, because I get a phone call when they're gonna do my water.
But you had to sign up to receive those phone calls.
I don't know, I don't think so.
The 911 thing,
The
trash-
The hydrant, the whole collection.
I think you had to sign up.
the
before.
code red you had to sign up, right? Because I signed up. And therefore, if
Okay.
you don't want people, some people like, they don't want to be bothered, but we could add to the code red if it's, I don't know if it's even possible. But if they wanted to sign up to know, if for some reason their trash was gonna be picked up on a different day. They could sign up. Would that be an abuse of code red? I don't even know. We
I don't think,
control
I
it.
don't think it's an abuse of code red. I mean, you're notifying,
Okay.
I mean, they use the code, well, the ECN community thing this afternoon for the 911. Yeah, I got calls
I got it, yeah.
3 times this afternoon on ECN community notifying me about the 911 being down and then being back up. Or emergency communication,
We got a lot of those.
so. I mean, could they use that to notify residents that their trash isn't being picked up?
911,
Well, I mean, it's not 911, it's
yeah, I'm thinking it's
whatever this
not.
ECN
To the level
community.
of the 911.
I know Rebecca always posts
Mhm.
on the town website, like the
That's-
holidays.
That's
and
the
all.
same, that's the same phone number I get the water notification of the hydrant flushing from.
Really?
Yeah,
And, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mine came across my cell phone with a lot of like, ring, ring, ring.
I know, I just,
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'd have to find out what the code red system can handle, whether it can be, whether they can identify streets.
or do we? I mean, put the responsibility on the provider.
I don't know how they're gonna notify the residents, though. They need to notify the town that there's gonna be an issue.
Do they
Right.
know?
I don't think that they do notify us.
You try to
Yeah.
call Waste Management now,
Better
because
communication. than
it's
the
a
rest.
municipal contract, you get put into like a hold cycle. I mean, I've done it and talked to them, they're not unpleasant, they're nice, but it takes a while to get.
would take you 35, 40 minutes.
It's a good long while, yeah.
The problem with Waste Management is they're a multi-billion-dollar corporation, many countries. They're not a local company that you can just call up and talk to. That's
Right.
the real problem.
So,
So when you call, you're not getting somebody in Massachusetts, you're getting somebody God only knows where.
so do we want to put something about customer service in the contract, like for people that want to call them and say something went wrong, because if they call here, that just puts us
I
in the
think we
middle.
have that now. The problem is,
I think
when
with
people
that,
call, they, wait 35-40 minutes to get through to somebody that can actually help them and say, hey, I live on 3 Main Street, my trash didn't get picked up. Oh, let me check into that. Let me go to the computer. Oh, okay, it seems like the truck was down, they'll be picking it up tomorrow. Okay, thanks. It's an hour of my life. I'll never get back to find out my truck won't get picked up till tomorrow.
I feel like we don't have that here locally. I feel like we have a local contact for waste management that
Mhm.
people in town can get a hold of. But the average resident can't get a hold of somebody like
Right.
that.
so do we want
you're calling it
customer
call center.
service?
Yeah,
And it's probably in Ohio.
Yeah.
Oklahoma.
because I've tried to call myself for bulk item pickups and believe me, it's beyond frustrating.
You know what? I found out you're better off doing it online. We don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
I tried to do it online the first time and it's even, and to me, it was just as frustrating.
Did you get a response when you did it online?
It took a long time.
Good.
It took a long time.
Yeah, I
And
got-
ultimately I got it done, but I also got the runaround because I was told it was $30 and they were telling me $40. And I finally got so fed up. I said, I don't care about the $10. I just want this thing picked up. I've been trying to do this for 2.5 hours now. And I said, just schedule the appointment. Just do it. I don't care. I want it gone. And I find this company to be very frustrating to
Yeah.
deal with. So,
Well, definitely the bulk item is a big deal.
Yeah.
To manage them.
So there was a resource on mass.gov about, when you're trying to renew your contract through their operational services division, that talks about, recycling and retaining some flexibility in the contract so that you can alter the recycling program. Talks about asking the contractors to provide credits or rebates for materials that aren't
We're
contaminated.
doing trash. forms.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to jump off the track.
Well,
so-
and then it also talks
so-
about containers and how it says all contractors offer appropriate containers relevant.
Yeah, but
to
who owns the
services.
container?
They offer them at
I mean,
price.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
like-
I'm just making the point that,
Right, but Sue, I wrote down that we want some type of customer service clause in the contract, so that residents can either online or by phone, their choice. They shouldn't be forced to have to go online if they're not comfortable online, if it's not easy for them.
well, think
We should
about
have
it.
a
There's
phone
probably
number.
a lot of older folks in town that aren't computer literate
Correct.
that would prefer to call somebody. I mean, and
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want to just deal with a blank screen. You don't want
Right.
to just, you want a question, you have a bulk item, you need to have it picked up. You need to get it picked up before you go away. You want to talk to somebody quick. Can they offer?
Maybe you don't need to talk to somebody quick. Maybe they could set up something like the airlines do, where they tell you, call the night before and make sure, and then you get this automated system where you punch in your flight number. And it says, that flight will be delayed by 3.5 hours. Well, thank you, and you hang up, you don't talk to anybody. All you do is punch in,
Well, we don't have
you know.
a customer number either, so
but if
we,
we can get them to provide, all we have to do is punch in our zip code.
for
and
our
it will
customer
give-
number,
And it'll give the feedback, all routes are on schedule. This
Yeah.
such and such street, such and such street will be affected by a truck breakdown. This and that, so you don't have to do anything.
right? Okay, so I just put down the resident should be able to contact the trash hauler by phone or by email to get their questions or concerns responded to. So you don't not get a response.
How about in a timely manner? Because that's always the deal with these guys. I mean, you get so frustrated, you hang up.
So
And then
we're,
you know what you do? You call here next.
right. And you
Right,
scream and yell at the
maybe-
person that
Yes.
answers.
Because nobody always management answers the phone.
Right.
You gotta, by that time, you're
Absolutely.
buttons boiling, you're gonna scream at somebody.
yeah, I kind of feel like we need, like, when you call waste management, if you're like, client, you have your own number, you put that in attention. We don't have that. I think we should have a customer number. Wherever hole is in our, when people from Berlin call in, you put in the customer number for Groveland, and they know that you're talking about something in Groveland. Period. So that, it's that contract, and so hopefully they would have the same individuals dealing with. From what I gained from my on-hold time, which I think I called them a couple of times, but what I learned from it seems to me that they must have bigger customers who do have a code. Like a corporate customer, or Fenway Park has its own code. So they got a problem, they punch the code in. They're probably talking to people that are familiar with what's supposed to be going on there. And we sort of want that, I think, right? We want some customer service agents that are familiar with what's going on here.
I would think at the town level, you probably have that. At the individual level,
You don't.
you don't. And
Not-
But we have
Not-
a representative. The guy Jared, is he still our local representative? How often do we
Not
meet with
Jared,
him?
No, it's another one.
It's,
Roy,
Roy
but he wasn't really the contact, he was just the person.
Boyer.
Roy Boyer, and we still talk to him, but when you're calling in for a problem or a question, we don't have a dedicated code. There's a point in
Yeah, Roy is
the
is the
thing where
is
they
the
ask.
area rep, district rep.
Yeah,
And-
I mean, even that's too much, in my
I
opinion.
mean, when things were really going badly in the very beginning of the contract, remember when Shoots,
Mhm.
I met with a resident who actually went up, got all the way up to one of the higher ups, and, he actually reached out to Roy and said, what's going on here? Because it was bad. We met in the, for whatever reason, I don't know what the excuse was. I know they needed to reconfigure the routes, but trash was just not getting picked up on a weekly basis. We had problems and problems and problems.
They were claiming high turnover, equipment breakdowns. They need to align the routes to be more cost effective and efficient. Yeah, there were a number of issues.
Right, and then the latest one was they were picking up all the trash, and they have been all along, I think personally. But they did say, oh yes, they've been picking up more than 2 barrels because there's a new guy driving the route.
This
Well, you know. it's
Jared
not a-
Torriere, isn't he the route manager for Groveland?
I don't know. I don't know that name.
Yeah,
Residential route manager.
Well, he may be the one that drives the truck then. That might be the fancy name for the truck.
I don't know
Yeah,
about
I'm
that.
very-
I mean,
Because
but
it used to be Anthony, and Anthony's gone. That was what I heard.
so it sounds like this guy Jared is the guy that oversees the route and oversees the truck drivers. You know, this would be the guy that we should be meeting with probably at least monthly. If it's not him, whoever it is now, because I know Oz and Salem just changed.
Yeah, okay.
You know, at minimum, he should be coming in here monthly, in my opinion, to meet with the town and discuss whatever issues we're having. at
Well,
this
Rebecca
point.
does get monthly reports now from them, and she's in monthly contact with them, and she was, again, disappointed in the time when they did fail to complete the route that they did not notify.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
but-
no way for her to know this unless they tell us.
So to me, in that respect, then they should be in front of this committee, the Board of Selectmen, somebody being called to task on that. Because it's unacceptable.
Right, I know Rebecca was going back to them about that. And she thought, because I know she had set up a ticket system online too for people to use if you wanted to do that. But even with all that, she wasn't notified when the route wasn't completed, so there was nowhere for her to know. And then I'm hearing from a resident, and I would feel the same way if I was on the Friday end of the route. Because if things start to go wrong during the week, there's the people that are going to get most impacted. So
Did you
But
set
then
it?
Thursday will be the news,
they're supposed to.
so it's gonna be
No,
an
we do have
end.
set it, so they pick up the time.
No, we don't have a route on Saturday. The routes end on Friday. So if we wanted to ask, can you do this town?
Or what are the
24 days.
ramifications if they don't abide by the contracted rules, what happens? Like, do they give
Right
us some
now-
kind of rebate?
No, nothing happened.
No, but I mean, what, like, could we put that into our,
Put it in the
Yeah,
proposal.
absolutely. It
Put
should be in the
proposals
proposal.
that,
What are the penalties if you
Exactly.
don't live up to the terms of the
Yes.
contract? So what happens if you don't complete X task? What happens if you don't complete Y task? And what happens if the town is unsatisfied? Can the town terminate the contract and find a new vendor?
Yes,
Well-
I mean, Rebecca talked about there being ways to terminate or reasons.
Yeah.
There's something built into the
There's
contract right now that we could terminate if something blah, 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 but I don't know what they are, so.
You can,
What would you, but the thing is, we don't wanna be, I don't think we wanna be in a position of asking them, we wanna put into the request for proposals that, failure to complete the
You wanna tell them.
routes,
you
you know.
wanna put in the proposal, all the routes must be picked up within 24 hours of their regularly scheduled pickup,
Except for forces of people.
except for forces of.
Well, we, obviously, if we know holidays, they're gonna be delayed. If there's a major snowstorm, it's gonna be a
Right.
delay.
But I mean, if they don't pick up your house on Thursday, their regular scheduled pickup, they have to
be
pick it
there
up
on Friday.
On Friday, within
Yes.
24 hours.
Absolutely.
And if not, then
Why?
they incur a penalty.
Right.
The penalty may be whatever we want to make up. Could be, $5,000 a day, $10,000 a day, whatever it should be.
I wonder if anybody else has this in a contract that's.
Well, we can look for it. I mean, right now, we can write down everything and
Yes,
anything.
yes.
That's the point, is everything that comes to mind should be documented.
But for these Friday people, if we can't get it off the Friday, listen, if it doesn't get picked up by Friday, you have to pick it up by Saturday,
Right.
period.
No choice.
No choice.
I mean, because what happens if there's a holiday? Everything's delayed a day, right? So they pick it up on Saturday.
Yes, they do.
Or
Well, they
Friday,
double
since
down.
Thursday's gonna be our last day.
For some reason, when they didn't finish their out Friday, they didn't pick up. the route. So
Well,
we know that,
That's
we know
right.
those residents that,
we
and
want
and
that in
again,
that
yeah.
proposal.
I think if we wanted to, we could probably send, get information from people on the Friday route. That might be where they find out.
Mhm.
How many times, how often are they finding it? The other thing is that they have to adhere to the barrel limit and the top post. We don't want them getting out of the truck to fool around with some of these trash barrels. To
Right.
get into the truck. Because that's another reason why routes won't get completed.
Yes,
Right now, I've watched him, I've been sometimes behind him, getting out of the truck, there's stuff piled on top of the trash.
Yes,
can, the
I
side of the
mean-
trash can.
Well, it's not automated at this point,
No.
so.
Right.
no, but
it's
they
supposed to
pick
be a
everything,
two-barrel limit, right now, it's not being adhered to.
No.
Well,
It's
especially
where-
in my neighborhood.
I have not heard a single complaint from someone who said that they put out too much trash and it didn't get picked up, and I've seen.
I send you
quite a
pictures.
few
I want-
arrangements.
we've always known that problem, that the fox is watching the hen house. And
Because what do they care?
for-profit
They're getting,
business.
absolutely,
That,
they're
that
getting
that was
paid.
Bill's point.
And why
Originally,
would the
yeah.
lawyer say, I'm not gonna pick up that phone call when I can charge him for every 15 minutes? It's
Amen.
ridiculous.
So we want the barrel limit adhered to
Yes.
strictly, and we want documentation to.
Or
to,
enforced, I guess, not adhered,
enforced, and we want
And they should
documentation
be
of that.
tagging whatever they're
You know, they
rejecting
say they-
and notifying
I
the reason for
I
what they're
assume that
rejecting.
There's gonna have to tag a few people, so we should get notification of the enforcement.
Now, I don't know if they do this in Salem, but I was talking to some of my friends in Everett, and if the,
What?
that they have the, the
enforced.
Enforced, okay,
If the-
yeah,
cat, the lid isn't closed, and they have the resources to do it. I don't know. They go around and they tag the barrel, you get a $25 fine. And after so many weeks of not paying.
Ooh, I
they
wanna
don't
be
pick
that
up
person
trash.
who does
Yeah,
that.
So I don't think we fine, but the lid has to be closed,
yeah.
or they don't pick it up, because they can't pick it up
Whatever.
with the automation, exactly.
Right. Yes, and so then they get a little tag that says something,
This is the reason why your trash wasn't picked up.
yes. But first we have to do all kinds of public education before we can,
Yeah, because all they'll do is call here.
yeah.
No, but,
Trash didn't get picked up. Did you
Well-
close, does the lid close? What's that have to
well,
do?
yeah, we have time, we have a whole year before the contract's up. We
Yeah.
Send it out, they're gonna see pictures of lids that are open and say,
Not
no,
only pictures, but probably it'll be on a certain TV show.
it might not be a bad idea to take if you
Public
see, if
access
you're
TV.
driving by something, you see something that is unusual. Take a picture of it so we can show them, this is what you can't do
And then
anymore.
you put a big circle with.
Yeah, no, I mean, don't get a
This is-
picture of their
this is
home,
not
I
the
don't
way
want
to do
people,
it. Then
yeah, I mean, we can.
Just like in our newsletter.
Well, yeah, so they can see for real, this
Yes.
is not gonna work, they're not gonna.
Did you
take
see our
a picture.
newsletter?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think we gave
Because
it
you'll have,
a
we can
couple of
provide tags,
Okay.
we can provide tags, you'll help.
The other
Yes,
thing we gotta think of to,
This one?
But we
If
need
they're-
Yes,
documentation.
that's my neighbor's house.
if they wanna charge to pick up an extra bag, right?
Well, that's just,
No,
yeah,
but we have to also think, are they gonna charge us tag people to get out of the truck?
well, they shouldn't, that,
No, they
that's why
shouldn't.
we're
That
being
should be-
requested.
That should be
that's the-
happening already.
No, I'm saying in the contract, we need to make sure that's specified, that every time somebody gets out of the truck, we don't incur a fee.
The only
Oh,
reason
you know what,
that they
that's a
should
good
be
point.
charging anything extra is if they're touching trash.
Mhm,
And by touching, I mean handling.
mhm.
So if they're putting a tag on, that's not handling trash.
No extra,
but
cost for
Premise was
enforcement.
They're getting out of the truck and that costs them
Yeah.
time. So that's why I want to bring that up now.
All right,
that-
so what I would say is you don't have to get out of the truck to put a tag on the trash. You can reach out and slap a tag on.
No,
the trash.
this is just a consideration.
Yeah, no, I
No,
agree
I
with
think
you,
that-
but
I wrote it in.
that would be my argument back to them. You don't have to get out of the truck.
They might have to hop out of the truck, but when they hop out, they're not picking up any of that trash. If, there's one barrel looks good, one looks bad, tag it and leave. Because now you have to get out of the truck.
There's, or should only be
One-
one barrel.
Well, yeah, I mean, once he has to get out of the truck,
The-
then he's
the
done
jig is
with
up.
that side. Tag it and go.
Unless he's going to pick up an overflow bag, which
That,
I would imagine they'll try to be compensated for that, but if we get $2.50 a bag. And then we don't make that in profit, but if we give them a nickel a bag, how many bags can there be? in
well,
those?
so did I already write down,
They get
did we write down that as a comp?
I'm gonna guess that other haulers aren't gonna try and charge you for an overflow bag. That's my guess. I think Waste Management is starting to nickel and dime here.
We will want to use overflow bags.
Well, they haven't given. us a
Easy through bags, pricing and information.
Well, they're already asking for
Separate Excel
the charge a fee.
document.
It sounds like.
Pay as you throw instructions and pricing.
Right, but we
They
want.
can ask.
in our
You can ask anything you
proposal-
want. You can ask
proposal, We want to allow for overflow
Yeah.
bags. Right?
At the end of the day,
I'm sorry.
nuts are gonna be.
So sorry, but when there's 15 conversations going on at once, it's really hard to hear.
We definitely want to allow for overflow bags. My question is, maybe I'm just throwing it out there, maybe on TV, but probably got but, would it at all be something that we want the town to handle, Bring them
How
to
would
the
they?
dumpster, well, bring them to one of our town dumpsters,
What's that?
the overflow bags.
No,
Oh,
the
no,
whole purpose of paying extra for those bags is so
it's
that,
convenience.
it's so that,
It offsets the amount of.
Well,
tonnage.
Not that-
Let me ask you this.
No, I'm wondering if we could have. that
If you're
picked
gonna
up.
do that, why don't you have the people bring it to the
Well,
dumpster?
I thought of that too. What do you think?
And here's the problem with that.
Yeah.
Why do I have to buy an overflow bag if I can come here in the middle of
Well-
the night and check out anything into the dumpster?
No, they'd have to bring it to the highway site.
If that's the case and you're gonna make them bring it, just let them bring it. Charge them when they get there, $2 and let them throw it in the trash with whatever bag they want it in.
we're gonna,
I think there's gonna
I think we
be
need a hauler.
trash piled up by these
Yes.
little.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
It happened at Washington Park and it's happened in other
So
locations.
we want the hauler to pick up the overflow
I think,
bags.
yeah,
Walk
Yes.
it out
Container isn't big enough.
and have
It's
them
like a
picked up
full
by
yard.
hauler.
Yeah,
Okay,
It
I've
gets
heard
filled
you.
up fast, and then they just leave it piled up.
I believe it.
Hauler pickup overflow bags, because that's why we're having people pay extra
At
for
no
those,
cost.
so that they don't, at no cost,
At
so,
no cost to the town.
so that they don't have overflow bags. Like, the whole point is to discourage it.
Okay, I also thought that we might need a clause in the trash contract that allows the town to divert anything it decides to divert out of the trash stream at any time during the contract.
Yeah.
Like, so if we want to bring in another party to go pick up compost, and I don't know what's gonna develop as things roll forward, but I don't want the hauler to be able to say, you're not allowed to bring in another hauler for that specific type of item. I don't want us to be restricted. Like, if we are not able to have composting ready to fly when this flies, and then we want to have composting, I don't want this contract to prohibit us from diverting almost 30% of the tonnage
right.
out of the trash. So I don't know what that clause would be, but I'm just concerned that a smart hauler is gonna try and lock us in with the tonnage as much as
No,
possible.
I think
You
you,
put in a clause that says the town reserves the right to negotiate
Yes.
with other haulers.
the specialized removal of specialized
thank you,
materials
thank you.
like compost or.
That do not include everyday trash.
Wow, I just like
Or-
special.
It says the same thing in here about, maintaining flexibility so that you can
Mhm.
recycle other items retain
Well, that's
flexibility with your
recycling.
contractor to alter, no, but it's the same concept, I mean, so that
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
retain flexibility of either your trash.
So we can tell Waste Management, you know what? We no longer want you to pick up a recycling. Because we've engaged in another company
Yeah,
that is
She was-
more
cheaper.
beneficial to our needs or whatever.
Yeah.
And, you know, kiss off,
This
kiss
says,
our trash.
um,
And that may be something the town needs to look at, is how, do you separate the altitude?
I think.
I've seen other towns do it.
Yeah,
So you know what? They're doing it for a reason. If it was more
Absolutely.
expensive, they wouldn't do
We
it.
did, absolutely.
So my mama didn't raise no fool most of the days. So it's gotta be a financial advantage to them to do it that way.
Yeah.
So, and we
Okay.
need to explore every area.
so
because
Yeah,
here's what I,
absolutely.
I'll read back what I have, so.
Anderson Building, you know,
Um,
can't go down the street.
My question, can trash be picked up Monday through Thursday? I'm sure that they say we can, but we'll see. We want it to be automated. And we either want the 64 gallon or one 32 gallon cart provided free. Maybe, and then customers pay for the additional cart, but we wanted to allow for 64. I told them that still. Okay. And then the third item was, are neighboring communities willing to combine with us in a contract? Achieve some, the
I
economies of
don't know if that
scale.
belongs in their
Well,
request
this,
for proposal.
no,
It
but
might be outside that.
it is
Rebecca
outside,
starts
but right
talking
now,
you
we got a
know,
list.
Angus and
Yeah.
Carol and saying,
But
hey,
she's gonna write the request. We're supposed to give her everything and anything that crosses our brains. Is what, so that she doesn't have to sit here for 3 meetings and try and figure out what we want. What are we concerned about? What are we thinking of? So I think leaving anything to do with trash, notification on a daily basis of routes not completed, that's in there. Code red notification if trash will not be picked up on the day of the route. Please figure out, again, these maybe are outside the proposal, but the things we want to talk about. Customer service residents should be able to contact the trash hauler by phone or by email and get their questions or concerns responded to in a timely manner. All routes should be picked up within 24 hours of scheduled or monetary consequences. Or
penalties, I like the word penalty.
penalties.
monetary penalties. Okay,
Bulk item availability.
cart limit must be enforced and hauler, we haven't had that, we got that. Cart minute limit must be enforced and hauler will provide documentation to the town that tags were issued when necessary,
And no extra cost for the enforcement.
right? We want to allow overflow bags and have these bags picked up by the hauler and the rest of the town. 10, town reserves the right to negotiate with other haulers for specialized items that residents want to dispose of. And what was the thing they asked you to hold?
Bulk item availability.
Okay.
This also mentions, automatic renewals of services are not allowed on this contract without prior written approval from the entity. No transportation, fuel, energy, insurance, or any other surcharges will be allowed throughout the duration of the contract. So no additional surcharge for,
Oh, I like that.
No additional surcharges may be added to the contract.
upon request, contractors must provide purchasing entities, us, with weight reports for the types of materials collected.
I think you get that now.
We get the time.
Do we get the? Oh, yes, we do.
But
Over
we,
each
but,
tonnage,
but then
whatever.
but they use a bunch of, ballpark estimates for, contamination. They tell us everything's been separated, and then they charge us 10% of everything
Yeah,
is
then
is
there's
contaminated.
There's a charge back later
So-
on down the line when they. So whatever we use.
So how do we know that contamination is coming from our residents and not from Georgetown or Haverhill or?
We don't know, they supposedly do their own audits and they tell us.
Or some
10%
other
of your
communities
trash.
that
Some
pick up.
stuff is on the honor system.
I
That's
mean,
just the
but
way it.
But we're getting charged back for that, and they could be collecting that trash somewhere else, and we're getting hit for that. Do you know what I mean?
And then do we have,
Every
to-
community could say the same thing.
I agree with you.
I don't know
I
how
agree,
you, I
but
don't know how you police
I
it.
think they make an assumption of what amount of contamination is in every building. And
All right.
that's what it's based on, an assumption, because
And
I
then they
think they're
true it up.
supposed to do some kind of an audit, but that's where we're never hearing about the audit.
Mhm. Yeah, I think once a quarter was supposed to true it up, the estimates versus the reality.
Yeah,
Does the same trash collection company pick up at our facilities also? Because it talks about reducing collection frequency at department facilities at any time during the agreement period. Should a facility request such a reduction as a result of greater recycling and waste prevention? So if our diversion
So.
is successful and our waste is reduced, maybe we don't
Say that-
need
that
as
first
frequent.
sentence, yeah, what was that?
All contractors must agree to reduce collection frequency at department facilities at any time during the agreement period. Should a facility request such a reduction as a result of greater recycling and or waste prevention, and we've been using the word diversion activities. Such reductions in collection should result in associated reduction in price. So like, I don't know how our
Contractors agree to
dumpsters,
reduce the pickup schedules.
Let's say, for example, we
Yeah.
decide we can no
Town
longer financially
determine-
support South Station. And they've got a dumpster.
No, they took a dumpster, right?
They-
Mhm. Yep, they don't need a dumpster. Why would they need
I
a
was making
dumpster?
hypotheticals, but then.
Oh, yeah.
Rebecca's very quietly been removing all of the dumpsters except for the one here.
Watching part.
Is there one? No, I don't know. if there's one.
Bagnell School,
Wait, Washington Park doesn't have a dumpster anymore. There's a church can.
so
since when?
Since Rebecca's been removing. the
months ago, I had reached out to
Yeah, honestly.
the school district
they
and
have-
asked,
They have trash
The
cans.
dumpster.
Nope, I don't think so. I'm gonna look again.
I played there all year.
This year?
This year, what do you think I was?
I have to look. Oh, wait, is it up by the batting cage?
Yes,
Okay.
behind the, is that
No,
behind
you're right.
the
There's
historical
one
society?
dumpster there.
it's always been there.
But is it locked?
No,
I don't know.
but in a couple of years, it hasn't been an issue.
So
No,
removing,
because people enjoy using it to dump extra stuff in. Sure.
That's one I use.
Yeah, I mean, tell me this, have you ever gone there in like January and checked it to see what's in there? Because there's no baseball in January. And that dumpster then sits there all year.
You know,
Could be gone in January.
So
back,
that's the
back
thing.
in my younger days, I used to dumpster dive, but now, you know, I
I
don't have to
don't
do it
pass
anymore,
it.
so.
Mm.
Especially in the cold winter night, you know. I'm not
As a
looking for
kid, we actually did
hot
dumpster
dogs.
diving. We went in behind the supermarkets and got those wooden crates out to make little hot rod cars. We went in the dumpsters.
Diversion. So that's my question, does waste
All
management,
contractors must agree
Yeah,
to
waste
reduce
management.
pickup schedules and the town
Thank you.
determines that the frequency is not needed.
such a reduction as a result of greater recycling and waste diversion activities? Such
Necessary,
reductions should result in associated reduction in price.
And this should result
Well, it should on two accounts, less tonnage and
in reduction
less containers.
in price.
So,
Okay, I got that one. So,
I'd like to see a dedicated route manager that the town can engage when necessary. Which, in my opinion, should be at the minimum monthly.
I'd add one word to that. Local.
Yes, absolutely. A local route manager,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
I don't want a guy
That I'm calling one
Fargo,
800
North Dakota.
to talk to.
is this for
doesn't
town
understand.
officials though, right? This is.
No, for anybody to,
Okay. That residents and town officials.
I got Roy to pick up the trash one day because I told him if it wasn't gone the next morning, I was gonna get pick up.
This talks about requesting weight slips with each invoice with itemized tonnage weight,
They've got the call, it's all picked up, what you do.
monthly or quarterly.
We get a monthly tonnage report, but the interesting, see, this is the part of waste management that confused me.
But we
so
should
much.
make sure that's in our
They
RFP.
have that tonnage report. And then they have the recycling tonnage, but then when you go into the finer print on the recycling bill, there's another bill for the recycling with a whole bunch of other surcharges on it. And
Okay.
fees,
So in the RF,
so it's very
you say
confusing.
that
Took
the
me a while.
billing. The trash must be separate. From all other
Okay,
services.
Oh, yeah, especially if we're gonna separate. The two.
Recycle, and compost. I wanna look at a bill and say, this is just for trash, this is for recycle, this is for something else.
Okay. All right, so building picture, so we can now reduce the pickups if we need to. We want a dedicated person, want the trash bill separate, so we know this is just trash, we don't want recycling on the
Or
same.
anything muddy in the water.
Okay,
Automatic renewals are not allowed. Like we have to have that built in.
I think that already is part of it, but, because we always had, you had to, we had to vote and sign it, but automatic renewals, but we should look out for that.
What about,
No,
Eligible
it's
entities, which
expired,
is-
Become at will.
well, that's exactly it. This says may at any time terminate a service agreement without penalty. Do we want to build that in there?
No, because then they can terminate us.
No, this is. Well, only if we
You
allow
wanna,
them to put that in the
you
contract.
wanna have some type of a clause for if the town wants to terminate the contract with notice, and no penalty.
Yes.
Okay.
I would think that's a reciprocal clause. They're gonna want, if we're gonna
Yeah.
want it, they're gonna want it.
I mean, we'll see.
So with 60-day written notice, either party may terminate
Yeah.
the contract.
And I think that is in the contract currently.
I'm pretty sure they're all, let's boilerplate. that.
Yeah.
We, not the one we have now, it's not much, because we tried to get a penalty clause in and they threw it out. And then, like, when they weren't picking up the trash, they were violating the contract, they weren't picking up the trash, we were getting flooded. Lori had a pile of paper this high. And she'd written all these complaints down on it, and Rebecca, I think it was Rebecca in the position of that. Rebecca, we might have been in that transition phase, Rebecca wasn't in their position yet.
I think it was-
Denise had left, that was the problem.
Well, you
We
know,
were-
there was,
Who is
there was a timing thing though, too. There was, you were in the middle of COVID, everybody's home. So the amount of trash people
This
were
was
throwing out
after
was
though, this was after,
much higher.
it was at the end when we started the renewal, we said, okay, we don't have time to go out to bid, we don't have a finance director, we don't have a town administrator, we're gonna just, renew this. But then all of a sudden, they were just not picking up trash. It was bad. It was, I still in my head, I can't figure out why they would make it so bad. It
I'm
was
saying,
so
some of
bad.
it was, there was so much trash that people were throwing out during that time period. And a lot of people didn't go back to work to the offices
Yeah,
for a while.
well, the trucks
That
were
the trucks
filling up,
got
yeah,
filled up
yeah.
much faster than they thought. And then they've got to go dump and come back.
But this went on for not a couple of days, this was
It went
a
on
few
for a
weeks.
year.
No, no, this went on suddenly in like the end of August or whatever, they switched the routes, we sent the thing out. And things got better, but for like 3 to 4 weeks, I think it was really,
Well,
And
no,
then it was
after
bad.
talking with Roy on Zoom.
so we can terminate the contract with appropriate notice, I don't know what that'd be, 60 days or whatever. Can we say without cause, and what if we just decide we're gonna get a better deal? from somebody else?
Exactly.
Without cause.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cause I think we
That's-
need that without cause, 'cause I don't want them to have to
Written
take
notice.
us to court and have us have to prove that they didn't do something. If we find somebody that's going to do a better job and this person isn't doing what we want, we're all,
Might not be satisfied with the service we're getting.
people and stuff.
It'd be just that simple.
Yeah, it's not working for us.
Yeah,
Not-
so here's your 60-day notice.
Okay,
We're gonna terminate. We don't need a
so
reason.
that's all trash stuff. Do we want to do a separate, like the recycling, I know, we need to open up the numbers.
Right.
Because if we don't list them, we won't get. them. They'll just tell us what they don't want to pick up. So do we want, is it just 1 through 7? Is that it? Is that the big deal, 1 through 7? Because other towns are getting things picked up, but we're not allowed to put in something.
Well,
Such as,
the milk cartons, for example.
You're more expert than I am.
Well, yes, you know those milk cartons that are, some towns can recycle those, the cartons that look like they're cardboard, but they're coated.
Yeah,
I forget which town it is that recycles
that'd
those.
be Hamilton.
They're on Western
I
Mass.
wanna say like Mansfield or something, but I can't remember.
So,
styrofoam is not big,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we can find,
black plastic for some reason is a no-no, I don't know why.
yes, and also small pieces, so like nips. Nips are not recyclable because they're too small.
That's why they're, no, to Washington Street.
Mhm. Well,
There's a recycle center for that.
I mean, we could also, as a select board, ban the sale of nips in the town, but apparently the liquor industry has well-paid lobbyists.
They have well-paid lobbyists, but who cares? Jeez, if you wanna do it, do it.
So,
Come on.
Bob, recycling is.
I agree.
But is it just the numbers? I mean, 1 through
But it's-
7, or is there something more we need to ask?
It's bold.
I don't know if you
People don't
can
wanna
it from
have
1 to
bold-
7, because I'm not
but-
sure.
We're talking about it in Salem. The licensing board is gonna do it, I think.
Not sure if there's.
Ban
a
nip
market
sales,
for it.
anything under whatever it is.
Right, but
The
if
problem
other
with that
towns are
is-
getting.
Hang on, because we can't
go
have
to
two
Georgetown.
conversations at once.
I go to
Yeah,
here.
no, I
I
know.
think we need to
Mhm.
find out a little more about the recycling.
So we want to make an expanded list.
Yeah,
Lot of
definitely,
recycling.
definitely.
Make an expanded list for recycling.
So
And you know, like the
Kids-
chicken-
Trash should be translatable to the.
The chicken
recycle.
stock, you
can,
know.
The
whatever that stuff's
cartons.
called. Yeah. or-
because they're coated.
Right,
like the-
different from the milk is plastic, has wax coated.
Right.
Right, but I'm also thinking of things like almond milk comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the same, yes,
But
that's
it's
what I'm
not-
talking
But
about.
why is
No,
it
no,
not
but
allowed?
it's
Is it
not-
because Waste Management says it's not allowed?
There are only certain facilities that can manage them, and there happens to be
one in
one.
Western Mass,
in-
they've got that in their.
or
contract
mid-Mass.
For the waxed ones, but those are not waxed, those are like plastic coated. I mean, there's
Right.
two different things we're talking about.
We need to just open up some of these recycling
As many
contracts and
things
pull
as we
out
can.
what they're-
Get
Yeah.
recycled. Would be good.
I think we should be asking to recycle everything that we can humanly recycle.
I know.
mean,
well, we should be allowed to, but
yeah, I agree.
Here's the
Maximize
problem with that.
recycling.
The cost of recycling is gone dramatically.
That's true.
in the last few
That
years.
is true.
So we could be biting off our nose to spite our face in some cases.
But-
If
If not, it's just
but
gonna
have you
end up
seen
in
the
the trash.
pictures on TV now with the
It's
soda
actually,
bottle? We're gonna make new
But that's-
soda bottles from your soda.
that's the
bottles, our
conundrum
soda
that we
bottles.
find ourselves in. Because Southeast Asia and a lot of these countries, they
Well,
used to
bottles
buy,
isn't so much
take this
involved.
No, I think it's. I
They
think
don't
it's
want it
plastic.
anymore.
They don't want it
It's on
anymore
TV.
because they're
They've been
floating
running
in it.
commercials more and more.
so now it's diverted to the
Expanded
trash
recycling.
and the
Companies claiming
landfills,
that they're
but at a
gonna
cheaper cost.
recycle
So
these
people
bottles, because I think
naturally
people,
Diverting
trying-
that stuff
are
that
thinking
was
about not
at once a
buying
commodity
things that
that
they
they
can
made money
recycle.
on.
Great,
to
well, plastic is
Cycle for. the landfill.
minimally recyclable is the problem.
well, these companies
And
are
as long
claiming
as
they
it
can
stays
do
a
it.
commodity like that.
Well,
Yeah,
some water
yeah,
companies
yeah.
have switched to aluminum
full
cans.
cost.
No, today,
The only other option is
Recycle
But
plastic.
incinerate.
how do we find
You're
the
paying-
most
you're paying
expensive
3
waste
cents,
to put in?
Why are we having multiple conversations?
Tomorrow you're paying
All right, well,
5
we're gonna,
cents a metric ton.
I just need to know how we're gonna do
I
this.
can't.
We're still talking about recycle,
Recycling.
but we gotta be careful on expanding it because
Why?
it could end up costing us more.
Well,
Because the
we'll look
cost of
at it when we
recycling
do it.
items right now.
So,
Well, here's one thing to do is we survey neighboring towns and see if their list is the same as ours,
Right,
right? That's
Okay.
one thing to do, and just if somebody
so,
with Mello or a different company, are they actually getting some of these items able to be put in the recycle cart? You know,
well, this,
happy to do some research on that.
And B,
okay, we
what's
do
the
that?
cost?
Thank you, Jen.
compared to us.
Yeah.
so here's the other thing that I mentioned during trash is also retain flexibility with the contractor to alter the recycling program to change your ad materials during the agreement timeframe. So if we find out that things are not recyclable and it's costing us more to try to recycle them, then we tell our citizens to put it in the trash instead, or whatever, or we find another recycling company that does recycle those things. I don't know.
Yeah. So we can add to or subtract from the recycling.
Retain flexibility with your contractor
fluctuations.
to alter a recycling program to change your ad materials
Yeah,
during the agreement
alter,
timeframe.
that's. missing.
You know what we just done? We just bounced some of the recycling back into the pipeline of landfills. That's where the real struggle becomes.
Well, that's why there, states like Maine are putting language into their bylaws that says, if you sell things in plastic, then you have to figure out what's gonna happen to that plastic. Maine was the first state in the country to do that.
And there's probably a surcharge on those items.
So-
that the state collects and uses to
Um,
fund the disposal of such items.
Or you do what some communities like on Cape Cod have done and just ban like single service plastic bottles.
Okay, so can we ask in the recycling contract? Or in those kind of companies, for any other kinds of pickups that wouldn't maybe be weekly, but like You know, I mean, the items that people are having trouble throwing out, like their batteries and all that. Aren't there items like that everybody's having trouble throwing out?
Like
Well,
what kind of batteries?
Because
You always get in trouble throwing those out.
What
Well,
kind
that's
of, what kind of
something else.
I
batteries?
mean, that's also in our newsletter that we sent out, that there are certain
Right.
places that take those batteries.
Right, but you would have to go to it. I'm thinking, is this something that you want to throw in to see if any companies come back with? Well, this is what we offer our customers, you
Mhm.
know, once or twice a year or something.
Yes,
I don't
actually,
know.
that's a good idea, yeah.
Do you want, so we can, I don't know what you call it, the pick up
It's
something
like a
else
special
clause?
pickup day or
Special,
something.
special pickup.
Maybe semi-annual.
This, yeah, so this says, we should note that some contractors offer specialized services in the recycling arena, focusing on just a few or even one commodity. For example, there are contractors who specialize in the collection and recycling of food and yard waste,
Oh,
construction and
okay.
demolition waste, paper shredding and recycling, as well as other specific or multiple categories.
Interesting. Okay, so
Can I ask what kind of batteries we're talking about?
I don't know. I thought batteries were bad. Aren't they bad?
Regular, like,
Regular batteries go in garbage?
yeah, there's nothing hazardous
Is it
about
just
them.
the little round ones, just?
The lithium batteries and those, yes, those are hazardous, those need to be recycled,
And what about old
nickel.
computers and things like that, laptops,
yeah, I
old
mean, those.
TVs?
Yeah,
Those are the
electronic.
things that were in the
Oh,
list.
electronic.
Those are all the things that were in the list that you could take to Staples.
Yeah.
Batteries too, single-use batteries. They
It'd
take
be
those.
interesting if.
But if a
any
company could pick all that
Oh
up, that'd
my
be great.
God,
Yeah.
yes.
On a
We
Like
have,
semi-annual-
this
we have
like-
Boy Scouts or something
I'm
around here that
sorry.
does recycling.
On a
Twice a year, I
semi-annual
think.
basis, yeah.
Yeah.
Twice
Yeah.
a year,
Have them itemized specialized
once in the summer,
Yeah,
once in the
pickup.
winter,
material.
right after
pickup.
Christmas.
Right, so if we're getting not bids, or proposals back from people, and one says I can provide this as well, that might tip the scales in your
Right.
favor.
Don't we have a Boy Scout troop around here that does electronics recycling?
Yes,
twice
they
a year?
just did one 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where did we?
It happens,
Where did
and
you-
then, and you pay.
They,
It's a
over at the
fundraiser
church,
for them.
Right, right.
what is it, the
But as I
Revere
said,
Church,
it's Staples.
Congregational
doesn't cost
Church?
you
Oh, they
anything.
went to the congregational church.
Yeah,
Okay,
Perry Park, actually.
actually, that's a
That's
good
kinda cool.
location, it's a visible location. But I didn't even see it. I must have, see, it's on me now.
Well, it's in my neighborhood. You gotta come move over to my neighborhood.
You know, we come from the south side, the south side of town, I don't
You're on
know.
the wrong side of the tracks. kid.
We're on the wrong side of the tracks for a good reason.
So I guess they're supposed to provide a certificate of recycling upon request.
Okay.
Certifies all materials collected for recycling were recycled and not otherwise disposed of.
And I think the same clauses in the trash, no adding additional fees, this and this and this, unless
Right,
we have agreed to it, unless they bring something up that, you know, obviously we're gonna terminate the contract because this cost us a fee around the resident. So no additional fees added after the fact, because we have the, right now, that's what they snuck in on the old contract. Not on the trash side, on the recycling side.
there's also shredding services and they have to offer secure document destruction. Certification of destruction.
Okay, so I think, I mean, recycling is recycling. I think that's good. If we can get a good list and we can get it.
Tell us what you recycle.
We want a good list and then we want a flexible contract so that.
Yes,
As the times change and things change.
You can add or remove things.
Right, right.
yes.
And we want.
Same
No
flexibility
additional
clause.
fees being slapped on like because,
Make sure you add that, the same flexibility clause.
yes. Okay, I have the flexibility, yes. So we can add and subtract. We got that.
Okay.
Okay, so we can, I think we've got this. This is a long list. If you think of more things, just write them all down. I'll put this back on, the agenda. So the composting, we may not be able to do that right away. But they're
What do you-
now offering it in Groveland to private citizens if they want to jump on it. So we can start advertising, I suppose. Right?
Well, were we gonna get a grant for the?
I don't know if Rebecca filed for it. I wanted her
Yeah, she
to.
did.
She did, okay,
She and I worked on the
Oh,
grant,
Oh, the one that was due on the 12th, okay, so that,
and we got it in,
okay.
but we
that-
haven't heard
For the-
any result.
And that was the grant for the setup, the initial setup fee for 100 customers or something, right?
Well, we put the grant in for 100, a pilot for 100 people, and the grant gives you $20 per, household in the pilot for the card.
So that's why, so somebody had posted on Facebook on the
Yeah,
prior. And I forwarded that to you, and I was just, should we tell people
it's, yeah, I have,
before you sign up for this, hey, the town put in for this grant? Like, I didn't wanna make an announcement, cause I don't, like,
we don't know what we're gonna be able to do. I mean, sometimes also, if they had any ARPA funds left, they use those. My concern about the pilot program for the town is that if we can't kind of make it free to the pilot people, I don't know how much
The
participation.
grant
we get.
didn't, the
Because
grant
Brian,
didn't cover that. The grant was only for cards.
okay, because I.
The grant was not to pay for an annual fee for each
Okay.
household that.
Because when I spoke to them on the phone, I was under the impression they said the grant could be used however you want it. But that's.
What is Black Earth charging to pick up?
I think it's $4 to pick up. Is it $4 a
It's,
month? It's not that much to pick up. We pick
It
up,
depends on if you do weekly or if you do every other week pickup.
right,
So if you do it weekly, it's $20.99 a month. If you do every other week, it's $16.99.
right, so it's like $4 a week. Yeah, and but then there's a $50 startup fee that you pay.
and is that what we're getting the grant
For
for?
a household?
Yeah,
If we
that's
get
a
the-
startup.
if we
fee.
get the
It's a
grant,
one-time fee.
They don't have to pay that. That's the whole point.
And they provide the liners every time when they pick up. I know that. You don't get charged enough, but you get charged.
Grant to remove startup fee
Some towns also have
for
given,
100 households.
The grant that we applied for basically would cover 2/3 of the cost of the 13-gallon card that the householder would need, so they wouldn't have to purchase that themselves. It
I
would be
think
like an
that's-
incentive
that's
for
like,
people who wanted to start in. the
Yeah,
program.
it's
So can't we tell the town this so that people, I'm worried that people will be frustrated if they sign up for this and then find out that the town is actually subsidizing it for 100 people. Cause I feel like you would get a lot of
no, but
excitement.
we're only gonna be able to
No.
subsidize it for like a year. After that,
No.
we're still gonna be without a little.
They're just putting their feelers out. You
Yeah.
need to get at least 50 households to do this pilot.
Yeah,
So people are signing up. They're not starting it yet. They're not starting the pickup yet.
yeah.
Black Earth is.
Did you see the Facebook?
And they
post?
know, yeah, but
Okay,
Okay, so
What-
do you think Black
what I'm
Earth is
saying
gonna
is
hold
we've
their
been-
Don't
list?
believe
touch
everything
with-
you see on Facebook.
we've
It's
been
not
in
all
touch
true.
with Rosie Warburton. She
Yeah.
knows that we have applied for the grant.
Okay, good.
She knows
Okay.
that if we get the grant, we're gonna notify her immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So
I don't
that's-
think there's any worry about that, because
So
I don't think
I-
they're gonna start it
Until we know what we're doing.
Exactly.
You got it. Okay. So, but here's the thing that I keep trying to wrap my head. I think we definitely want to do the pilot because we want to see how it works. We want to see, they'll tell us the tonnage that they're collecting, that much we'll know. We'll know the tonnage that's being diverted because they're going to give us a tonnage report. And then, like towns moving forward, I've been reading up on how they transition from that to opening up to the whole town. And then why should someone pay additional money for that? Because the cost of the bags is not gonna be that much. So some towns provide like a discount on water and sewer services or a discount on something else if you're participating in the composting program. Because it's known, and that's where the pilot comes in handy, because the pilot program will allow us to quantify what is the town truly saving. We're gonna have a quantification of that. So we can then maybe, I shouldn't say on TV, I'll just, what in the record comment. I mean, I'll
Yes.
talk to them.
that's
about-
exactly what I was thinking, really hard in my head.
Well, because everybody gets that, the other
Yes.
town, this is something that we can learn as we go, because other towns are a year or two ahead of us, and we can see what are they doing, how are they doing, because certainly if you're in the composting program, you won't be throwing out as much trash. So you're definitely gonna be able to stay within the 32-gallon, even with a family. But if you're paying all the costs of that, and then there's also, I think, with Black Earth, there might be a possibility that as the program gets larger, the cost per individual gets
Right.
smaller.
Yes.
right?
Right, when they have 200 families,
Oh,
I think
okay.
it goes down.
Okay, so that's another thing, but I think
Their patient.
getting the pilot,
What's the reality you're gonna get 200 people?
There's a lot of interest. This person is saying they need 30 households and they said we had at least 50 before who pre-enrolled, so it's possible.
Nobody
I mean,
has
I happen to
garbage.
compost in my backyard, but not everybody does.
You've got.
See, I have a garbage disposal, so I don't. I, not that I wouldn't, I just say at this point in time, I don't, because I just put everything down the garbage
I
disposal.
do not.
You've got 2,500 households. so
I mean,
you
low
have to take
garbage, okay, there was
10%
nothing
less.
on that.
Right,
You need to sign up.
right.
I guess the 200, so.
Something was.
I mean, I think it's possible. I just didn't know if there was been a like survey or
Well-
anything that,
To start it, you don't need 200. That's what we were saying.
right, you need 50.
50.
Yeah.
Right.
We put in the grant for 100 because we don't want to be that small,
Right,
50, you know. but
I would
the incentive
definitely
for
sign
100.
up for it, but I
However,
don't wanna take somebody's.
if it
From there.
grows, at any time it grows, then the cost per person goes down. So if it grows to
Cause
2,
I'm curious
So
to
that
see
could
how it
happen.
works.
Mhm.
I mean, I think if they don't get enough people, anybody on the committee.
Yeah.
You know,
do we have any large generators in town that would be required to?
well, so interestingly,
Compost.
before I left, for my school vacation at Whittier, spoke with Jean at Black Earth, and they do schools.
Yep.
So I wrote up a proposal for the school, and I think I could easily send that over to Rebecca to bring to the Bagnell or Kentucky, because what they would initially do is work in the kitchen for the food waste. They wouldn't put it out in the cafeteria initially, because then you can control it more. So they would just need to know, I had to get from my cafeteria manager an estimate of how many bins they would fill. And at Whittier, I guess it's a lot, depending on what the menu is, it's peeling and there are all kinds of stuff.
right,
So they would start in the kitchen and, it's really reasonable. I mean, it's not expensive when you look at it from the school's perspective, and they're paying at least $100 a ton for trash.
So they don't already have, because I never heard back from the school when I emailed the person. They don't do any composting yet?
That, and a while, like years ago, they did composting on site at Whittier as part of the science. department.
Whittier, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then that's very time consuming and
And
difficult.
Whittier is a single entity.
Right,
With Bagnell, you're gonna have to deal with Kentucky Regional.
right,
But that's who I emailed and I never heard back.
but initially, they could, like, when I heard them describe it, they would start it in the kitchen area. That makes a lot of
Yes,
sense.
yes.
So Kentucky could choose to start it just in the kitchen area of their high school if they want. Or it'd be great at the elementary schools, because then just to start that part of their science education and to educate the students about what's going on. And I guess Black Earth does tours and things like that for students from Whittier, I think, went and have seen some of these composting
And
facilities.
considering how the Kentucky
I'd like to
budget
see
keeps
one of the
growing every year, that might be a good.
Wouldn't that
way to
be
save some
nice?
money on
Yes.
Their budget.
Yes.
I wonder if Black Earth would work with Bagnell directly to institute composting program and then take some of that compost back to the school to use in their garden over there that the fourth grade works in every year,
Oh, yeah, that's a nice idea too.
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, could
well,
we,
everybody who participates gets a coupon for a bag of compost, so I'm sure they would do some reciprocal arrangement for school, I'm sure they would.
yeah, especially if that information goes back to the parents. But like, is this something we should involve, like, Dr. Bartholomew with? Like, get more information, find out how interested they would be, what they do already, like, maybe I just need to email a different person.
I can go into my exploring now on it, although I don't need, yeah. And, I can forward to you what I sent
Okay,
to my superintendent.
that'd be amazing.
Yeah, because they gave me all the breakdown and costs, and then I sent some questions over and she answered
Yeah.
them.
And some info.
Yes.
Yeah, so, yeah, it sounds really doable when you talk about them just beginning it in the cafeteria. Or,
Okay.
and not in the,
In the kitchen.
in the
Kitchen.
kitchen area, because then they can really control that only the right things are being put in. the
Right.
cabinet. And when you think about the peeling and the chopping and all the other stuff that goes on, food prep, I mean, I assume Bagnell preps for food. We
And
do,
our
no, we do.
trash recycling contract includes the schools?
No,
No,
That's-
it would just,
Kentucky.
it would save the schools on their budget, but
Okay.
Whittier pays its
Okay.
on trash bill, that
Okay.
savings is savings.
Okay.
Maybe they're gonna lower our cost of 62.5 cents per dollar to that. Going to the school budget.
Right.
Okay,
Something else that might be worth looking into is requiring restaurants and takeout places to go from styrofoam or
Styrene, yeah.
to compostable, recyclable.
As a town bylaw, you mean?
Yeah, if necessary, because,
Mhm.
you know, you go to all these places that have polystyrene takeout containers, they're just going in the trash, they're not going in
And
recycling.
plastic, that
Yeah.
plastic cannot be recycled either.
So that would
So,
be, let's see.
you know, Require them to be compostable or recyclable. And.
Yeah.
You know, at least you're diverting a little bit more out of the waste stream.
Everything that we divert is worldwide, right?
Yeah.
You
Okay.
hear about too many restaurants.
So
No, but
Yeah.
none of them are using
a little
anything
bit
that's,
yeah.
over, so I'm gonna go
So-
quick.
you know, it's all,
20 of them. It's like-
I think we've got
Yeah,
this
that should
down
be
on
good.
the update on grants. I feel like, Jan, you're probably the best able to, if you want to give, I mean, I've kind of heard it.
Oh, the grants? Yeah,
We've gotten two, one.
Basically, she got the technical assistance grant, I know that, for the 80 hours.
Oh, okay.
We applied for the food waste collection parts, which we haven't heard back from. She also applied for the recycling partnership to get the recycling parts.
Okay, yes.
Yeah,
those are good.
That I know she hasn't heard back.
Okay,
And then there is, Black Earth did send out a notice that there is a grant. A federal composting food waste reduction program grant, and that one is due September 4th, and Rebecca's on vacation, so she hasn't had a chance to see.
okay, so that's.
But that did go out.
All right, so that's agenda item.
So that's all I'm aware of.
That, no, you've got it down. I figured you would. You've got
The
best-
barrel we're waiting to hear on.
And then there's a future grant possibly due in September. I feel like this whole thing is gonna start opening up more and more. I mean, it's just the TV, the radio, the commercials I'm seeing.
Yeah.
There's more of a push for the recyclable thing and,
That's what you're so into it now. You're conscious of those.
I'm
things.
conscious of it too, but I mean, I'm also like.
Yeah, true.
When you buy a new car, everybody's driving the same thing.
Yes, but I'm also coming back from the thing where it was such a disappointment to see that our recycling costs as much as our trash. And, you know, like, I hope we're gonna come to a better place than that. That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
They're come to a better
Yeah,
place,
'cause
then
It's hard to sell that kind of a thing to the public when they're like, what does it matter? $100 a ton here, $100 a ton there. What difference does it make? Not to mention the public perception, they watch it all get dumped in the same truck. And I'm hard pressed to explain to them how this
there's
is.
two halves of the truck.
Yeah.
Sure, there.
Yes, they
There is,
are.
there is.
It's
All
a
right.
dual truck. That's what it's
Yeah.
called.
Okay, but then they go and they percentage everything of how much of that is.
And the recycling
this-
still is not as expensive as trash. Remember, we did the numbers.
It's pretty close.
It's close, but it's not,
Bad.
trash is still more expensive.
Yes, no, it's still worth, I think what we're doing is what, getting us ahead of the curve, because the next step will be, there'll be penalties put on towns that aren't doing what they're supposed to do.
Right.
I mean, this gets us ahead of that.
More importantly, the town can't afford $1 million plus trash
Correct.
contract
Okay,
either.
so, we do need to
Yeah.
approve the minutes. Did everybody read the minutes? I looked, they look fine to me.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second,
All right, any discussion? You have such approval? Yes, okay, so, call for vote. Approval of minutes.
Aye.
One
And
abstain,
one abstention.
but we're here.
oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Future agenda items, and well, is there anything not reasonably anticipated town posting? Nothing wrong with that. I do have a special request.
Oh, here we
Yes.
go.
I know,
Special
any
request.
chance of a Wednesday night meeting in July?
As long as it's not on the second Wednesday. Cause that's,
The 3rd of July. No, that's the
No,
first,
it's the
that's
first
the,
So what
11th,
Wednesday would be good?
10th.
oh, and I don't know if we're gonna have a fourth Wednesday.
Later in the month, I think.
It'd have to be the first and the third. Or third. Actually, it can't be the third because we have a hot date that night.
All right, what about, what's the fourth one? What's the last Wednesday in July look like?
The 31st?
July, 31st.
Why don't we do that? We've
Done.
got a lot rolling now. John's gonna do some research on, what are you researching?
Well, there's 5
Recycling.
Wednesdays, so you want to do the 31st?
Go all the way, that's all right, I just, unfortunately, I joined too many teams and They're bringing next for Tuesday.
So we have to work around yours.
She is the
I actually
chair.
have a conflict on the 16th as well, so that works better for me.
My husband's like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't know, everybody's like, join
I don't really know,
Okay,
I volunteered to take the summer baseball team, but I haven't seen the schedule yet, so.
all right,
You don't think it's gonna be on Wednesdays?
then, all right, we'll tentatively try for the last Wednesday of July.
Okay, can I mention one thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Since we're talking about the last meeting being the last Wednesday in July, is that Mike and I actually met with Chris LaForey.
TV show, yeah.
And I have the camera with which to practice, and we're hoping to put a monthly 30-minute TV show on public access. And I wanted to start with trash, and then, I mean, we still have to make a storyboard and stuff like that.
Okay, okay.
But like, I guess I want people to think about what they would want. Because you're talking about our first show to be in August. What do people want about trash in a first TV show, I guess?
Mhm.
You know, it's like, and it needs to be interesting. So obviously we want to talk about trash. Everybody's really interested in it. Do we talk about the numbers? Do we talk about this is what we're like? So I guess
Well,
just
your
think about
newsletter
it.
was great because it started out with what, talking trash or whatever, which is
Yeah,
great. It's a good vibe.
I would think 50,000 foot level, and as you go,
Okay.
you refine that.
Okay.
Okay,
message.
and this,
Just a
Yes.
general overview.
I
Okay.
can send this to you in digital form with more columns that aren't filled in yet. This I was just playing around with today because I keep trying to figure out how to, in a visual way, not in a table way, and I'm thinking either a pie chart or a chart that goes up in lines, but we need part of educating the public, and this is where maybe
Yes.
I can get you some pictures that would show this, but when we balance the budget, and we typically don't go for overrides involved, and I know people think we go all the time, but we don't. We go for years and years. What's happening because trash goes up far more than 2.5%. If you looked, what I tried to do
Wow.
is take just the
Yeah.
departments, not school spending, just the departments and not the fixed costs of debt and stuff, and try to show that percentage change on trash versus those things. And what you'll see is like our human services, we're basically falling further and further behind the human services.
yeah,
And maybe some people will say, I don't care, I want my trash picked up. To them, I would say, yeah, but see, every time we put an override out, it's a gamble. And it's only good for that 1 year that it goes to trash. The very next year, if we can't balance the budget again, we're back for another override. And we're gonna be saying, what happened to the override? I voted for Chance. It's a general override.
Mhm.
It's not dedicated to trash. And that's why the pay-as-you-throw will create a revolving account that will be
Yes.
dedicated to supporting that trash budget. So that the residents can, say, okay, we're not gonna be asked to override to fund a trash contract. We'll raise the price of the bags if we have to do that.
And you create a contra account that goes against this trash
Yeah,
account that offsets the spending.
right. But I mean, even when you see like public
dedicated to
safety,
trash.
public
Okay.
safety, they had to go off of reserves and put in, regular officers. Plus, we had the 2 firefighters that were paid for by a grant that then had to come into the budget. That's why you see the 13% bump there. But before that and after that, we're hardly giving much of an increase there. General government is a little bit crazy. I'm not sure why the number in 24 is up so much, but typically then you see it dive down because in 1 year, that was the year we gave the wage adjustments. It was funded by an override.
Mhm.
That's what that 20% is. That's the wage adjustments. But overall, though, look at trash. I mean, it's just always going up 10%, always going up 2%. So as I forget, Taylor said to us, wouldn't you rather spend your tax dollars on something else, on more room in the library, on more services for
Better
elderly?
paychecks for,
We have maybe like one outreach worker, so maybe that's part of what the TV show can be about. I think our human services and our ability to keep up with our grounds, like we've moved in the redistribution chart, we moved all of the grounds right into one area. Well, that's a lot of
Yes.
grounds.
Mhm.
So,
Can
yeah,
I just ask, are we gonna talk about the collection of non-recycling items?
number 4. I thought we did.
Oh, no, David was supposed to get
David-
information
Oh,
on
yes.
razors,
Do we have
yada,
time?
yada.
Just
Yes,
to-
yeah, go ahead, jump
Thank
in. Sorry about that. I
So
went right past-
It's a program called TerraCycle. It's voluntary. It's not, um. It's something you sign up for, basically, and Salem signed up for it. You can recycle things like home health care free recycling program. There's a Takis snack-free recycling program, cigarette waste-free recycling program.
Terrible.
Paula's Choice Skincare. And what you do is we have these bins. I'll show you a picture of what Salem's looks like. So Salem is doing like Brita filters, toothpaste and toothbrushes, deodorant. Bought,
All the bathroom
things.
items that go on the trash.
razors,
Yeah.
Swiffers. So,
Oh, okay,
so we have those bins
yeah.
and they're each dedicated to a different thing.
I love it at town hall.
Yeah, and,
Okay.
annex. So, and when they're full, they box them up and they send them to TerraCycle. You earn points. And then you can take those points and they give you a rebate and you can dedicate that rebate to an organization that you want to support.
Okay,
So generally what Salem does is they send it to a school periodically. They'll choose a school and so it's a few $100 here and there and
yeah,
they send it to the school. So,
buy
If
some
it-
supplies, yeah.
yeah, so if the town wanted to do something like that. they could
Yes.
Do something like
That's
that,
neat.
you know.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. Because those.
So
are-
it's TerraCycle.com,
You can't put those in the recycling.
Yeah.
bin,
right?
You know.
Can you
Yeah.
send Stephanie the picture of the bin thing so we have that?
Yep.
That'd be great. Super, thanks for remembering that. Shannon.
Do you want my
Oh,
cell phone
no,
number or
thank
do you
you
want
for-
my
I
email?
was curious to see what we could do with that.
Either one.
Oh, it's great,
Give me
that's
yourself.
good.
I have a picture of it here.
It's, let me know when you're ready. Here, I'll write it down.
They have, is it like a postage paid thing that you
Yeah.
guys picks up or something?
I took a picture of this. So, yeah, they send it and I'm not involved in it, so honestly, I really don't know how they send it, but. So this is, yeah. So that's the website that Salem has set up for what we do. It's a
Okay, cool.
Facebook page, I think.
Thank you.
That's great. Now, the health consortium that we joined, do they offer any assistance towards any of the efforts we're doing with them? Are they mainly like waiting for the next play?
And not that I don't think they're involved with
They're
this.
more involved in like the inspection services and all,
Yeah.
just cover that, yeah. Okay. That's still a good thing for us. I mean, again, you look at the public, services, the human services, that includes the health department. We need, I don't even know why it went up on the, that'll be the salaries. So that 1 year, that one blip and everybody is the same thing in salaries. Otherwise, they're less than 1% increase in human services. That's really sad. I don't call that good budgeting. It means we're chipping away at their budget and directing it towards trash.
And
It's trash.
schools.
And
Both.
except it's trash is going up 10% and we know we can do better. Right now, the school is still, we think we can do better, we're trying to do better, but some years when they start showing us where they're trying to cut, we go, whoa, not there. They cut our elementary school last time, it was not their teacher staff. So it's tough, they have a huge budget, and I feel like it gets to us and then we try to look at it, but then they've already almost ready to vote it.
Good job, Debbie.
I think Rebecca did a really outstanding job this year, kept going back to the meetings and insisting that it would be a very bad idea to try to put another override out there this year. People were just not having it, you know. Price of food's gone up, price of housing's gone up. And just, you know, not having it.
Right, I mean, the whole
So-
year fiasco.
So if we could come out with, what I'm thinking is like, as you get on, I don't have anything pictorial, this would be not what you want on a show. But if we can make either a bar chart, pie charts, or any kind of charts. And then maybe talk about what the future, what could be freed up in this budget going forward. By the pay-as-you-throw program kicking in, I think that's where Taylor gave us.
Oh,
some
yeah, and then
estimates.
we'll have a person that can provide stuff that we could put on, right? We'll have 80 hours of a
yeah.
person, technical assistant.
Yes.
So probably they have all the pie charts I could want.
Well, maybe also how about maybe if Taylor
would too.
would come and
Taylor.
call in. She's so personable and she had the answers. This woman was like,
Oh, yeah, she could
No.
give us some of the bags, like to show, and I was thinking of biscuits and things, but,
I don't really, I don't
you know,
know.
like laughing. But, I was wondering if you could put the lists that we've sort of made
Yes.
up in teams. Can we
See,
add
I
to
don't,
that?
I'm not, that's one of my big dilemmas. I'm not into tea. I can't
I
get
just want to
into
make sure that we all see it and think that it was
Yes.
complete compared
So
to
where
what
do you
we,
get into Teams on your computer, right?
yeah, I can get into Teams, but today I could not upload the minutes.
It's a Microsoft product, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna just have to find out how my Apple wants to do it.
Okay.
Because I have not been able to get into like I've been able to download, and look at them.
You can get into your email. Do you have,
I could get into the town email, but I have a special bookmark. She had to give me a special password bookmark. I don't know
okay,
what it is, but it gets me in.
because it's the town email that gets you into Teams.
I know, but I don't. I'll try again. I
Okay.
think it's just an Apple, Microsoft. I have
Yes.
to figure out what the connection is. It's
Okay.
probably something easy, but I don't know yet.
Okay,
Yes.
because I think that would be helpful if we could review the document and maybe add
Has
to it.
anybody else been able to get into the team site? You see all the documents that Rebecca has there? Okay.
I've gone into the. Not the team, I don't think it's Teams, it's something else, like,
And you see a lot of documents.
It's like from
Yeah.
Outlook.
yeah,
It's like
Okay,
the Outlook group of
That's-
It
products.
is Teams though, that's.
that's team.
Is it
Okay,
Teams?
so I should be able to get there. I'll go look for this. I think I just don't, I
It's
think
like
I
you
followed
click
wrong
on the
track.
little
Really
people.
helpful because everyone
Yeah.
will be looking at the same.
Same
Yes.
things, right?
And you know, there's all kinds of contracts on
Yeah.
there. boxes
So maybe we
and
just
stuff.
ask Rebecca to make sure we all have access.
Yeah. And I think if you want like some ideas,
Yeah,
like
I'm
Hamilton, I think is the first town in the state that went composting
on.
town-wide. It might be interesting to get some information from them or have them even zoom in on your TV show and talk about how it's working.
Yes. Have a trashy TV show, good.
Yes, it's Groveland's own trashy TV show. I think that's what we're gonna go. Bring us, you
You
should
might
have,
get picked up by A&E and they subsidize the trash.
You never know, Bill.
That's what I'm saying.
stranger things have
Yeah,
happened.
that would be
Alright.
great.
so I think we're good and I'm gonna get into that. So,
Move to
Okay.
adjourn.
yes, please.
Second, oh, wait, I guess Kathy seconded.
7:31. And a couple of all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay, we're adjourned until the end of July.